So my background before coming here was a practice manager. I have done other jobs, but that was my immediate job that I had before I became an MP. I took 2 weeks off for annual leave and I went on the selection for the seat. The seat is Edmonton. And I came back on the Monday to say that I've been selected as the candidate. So it was very, very quick. And I literally, handed my notice in and started my journey to be the next MP for Edmonton. And I took the seat very seriously. I looked at it as, yes, it's a Labour seat and it was classed as what they call a safe seat, but I didn't look at it like that because I grew up in Tottenham, and Tottenham is classed as a safe seat, and that can sometimes mean you never see the MP because it's safe and you'll always vote for Labour. So what I did is I flipped that around when I went to Edmonton and treated people how I wanted to be treated. And I knocked on doors, and doors that I didn't knock on, I actually made sure they got a leaflet from me saying that I am the new candidate and that Andy Love is stepping down, because not everybody would have known that. And the people that I meet now that I never met have said thank you because we got a leaflet from you. We understand you wouldn't have been able to come to every door. So the outcome of that meant that I inherited a majority of 9,000, and it actually went up to over 15,000 in a short space of time. So it showed me as a new candidate, that's what I need to do, to one, increase the majority, and two, just to give me confidence to know that there is a mandate. People have said, we want UK, you are a new candidate. The previous MP was there for 18 years, and now the majority is higher than it's ever been. So I know that that's what I'm going to be working from, that's my springboard, and I'm going to push forward from there onwards to ensure that my seat is not treated as a safe seat, it's treated as a seat which Labour respects and that the MP respects. So that's where I'm coming from, but we're here today. And I would first like to say that the general election result represented a big shift in British politics. For the first time in 18 years, we now have a Tory majority government. This makes it a very important time to think about the main challenges that we face as a society. And I believe one of the biggest issues we need to address over the next few years is inequality. We have seen inequality increase over the last 5 years, and this is only going to get worse now the Tories are in power and that they are on their own, which I think is very important that people realise that as much as the Lib Dems were in coalition with them, we're now finding out there was a lot more things which the Lib Dems would not allow them to do. Even though they were able to do a lot, there was a lot of things they weren't allowed to do because the Lib Dems didn't allow them to be able to do that. So it's very important that we symbolise this, them being on their own. Them being on their own means they are going to be against the poor. They're going to challenge Labour's position on many issues. And for somebody like myself, coming from a community which is very diverse, representing a constituency where over 72% of my constituents rely on tax credits. So that means they're trying to work and they're relying on benefits. So that's tax credits, housing benefit, benefits, in-work benefits within my constituency. Majority, as I've said, are relying upon them. So you can imagine my position when there are murmurs that there are going to be even more changes on something which has already been capped, as in the benefits. They're going to be capped even more. It's going to take out, could potentially wipe out constituencies like my own. So I will fight tooth and nail to represent my constituency. And I suppose I shouldn't be saying what I'm saying in this room, but you can well imagine which way I'll be voting when it comes to my constituency and how they're going to be affected. So I know it's been filmed, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but anyway, I've said that. After the 5 years of Tory government, we could be left with a society more divided and unequal than any other time in recent memory. Britain is already one of the most unequal countries in the world. According to the OECD, we have higher levels of inequality in similar countries like France, Germany, Japan and Korea. In Britain, the average income of the richest 10% is currently 10 times as large as the poorest 10%. But income inequality is only part of the story. Wealth inequality, equality in what people own rather than what they earn, has also shot up. Between 2013 and 2014, London had the second largest growth in million-dollar wealth households in the world. The UK was the only country in the G7 to see a rise in wealth inequality in this period. At the same time, we live in a country where 3.5 million children are living in poverty. When housing costs are taken it's taken into account, we still need to look at the fact that, as I've said, so many of our children are living in poverty. Experts predict that there will be 4.4 million children living in poverty by 2020. This is one of the worst rates in the industrialised world. BAME children are disproportionately affected. In black or black British households, 44% of children are living in poverty. This rises to 55% in Pakistani and Bangladeshi households, compared with 25% of white children. We have a particular problem here in London. This city is the richest part of the country, but it is also the most unequal. It is a city which is a home to most, if not all, millionaires, rather than any other city. But it's also a place where 4 in 10 of our children live in poverty. Tory plans such as cuts to working tax credits, as I mentioned before, are going to make things even worse. Tax credits play a vital role in making sure working families can actually get by. Cutting these crucial benefits will push millions of hard-working people and their children below the poverty line. This will have a really, really bad effect on many working people, especially people that live in Edmonton, as I just mentioned. And this also makes no economic sense. Even the World Bank has found that a more unequal country tends to have lower rates of economic growth than more equal countries. Increasing poverty and inequality is a disaster for our society and our economy, but it is also a threat to democracy. If wealth and power are concentrated in the hands of the few, then it becomes more and more difficult for ordinary people to have their voice heard. This breeds disillusionment, empathy, and basically resentment. And it fuels the rise of nationalists and far-right parties like UKIP. Only by tearing down these barriers will things actually change, and it will help people to find their full potential. We need to build a parliament which represents diversity and a society where everybody feels their voice is being heard. The trade union movement is central to achieving this. There is a mountain of evidence that increasing trade union membership and collective bargaining agreements is one of the best ways to secure good wages and conditions for working people. This is just one of the reasons why the Tory plans to make it harder for people to strike is just wrong. They will make it more difficult for people to defend their rights at work and will almost certainly have a negative impact on wages. This is the last thing people need at this very crucial time. On a global scale, things are also very, very worrying. We now live in a world where the 85 richest people own the same amount of wealth as half of the world's population. As Oxfam has highlighted, this extreme level of inequality robs people of life changes, fuels crime and corruption, and feeds gender inequality. The fact that millions of people across our planet lack the basic things they need to get by feeds extremist movements, which thrive in conditions of hopelessness and despair. This undermines chances of peace, democracy, and sustainable development, which we all want to see. We face a clear choice. We can either build a more equal society, or we will live in an increasing, divided, undemocratic, and basically a very unhappy world. Only by tackling poverty and inequality can we build a society where people have hope and greater influence on the communities that they live in.